Hello, my dear student. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you all are quite okay and fine. I am also fine. Welcome you all to my today online class. Before going to start my today's lecture, first of all, I would like to introduce myself to all of you. I am Muhammad Ghulam Morshed, lecturer of biology, Milestone College, Uttara, Dhaka. I would like to share with you regarding my educational background. I have already completed honors and master's degree from Russia University in Zoology department. Let's start our today's online class. Today I am going to discuss about chapter 2, that is the introduction of animal. The topics. I will be discussed here about the asexual and sexual reproduction in Hydra. I will discuss about the regeneration of Hydra. Now the learning objectives. After completing this lesson, student could easily explain about asexual and sexual reproduction clearly. Student can also explain about the regeneration of Hydra. Now first of all, you should have a clear understanding what is reproduction in Hydra. What is reproduction? Okay, the reproduction is the biological process by which new individual organism offsprings are actually produced from the parents. Reproduction is basically two types: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is a type of reproduction by which offspring arise from a single organism and inherit the gene of that parent only. Hydra reproduce asexually by budding. Now let's discuss about the asexual reproduction, that is the budding. Budding is a process which is normally take places during the summer season. Okay, when there is a plenty of food is available, this time Hydra reproduce by budding process. Okay, this is the usual mode of reproduction of Hydra. The budding process actually completed for several successive steps. I would like to discuss here the step one by one. First, a bud is actually developed as a simple evagination of the body wall. As you know that the interstitial cells, which is a special type of cell, have the totipotency ability, and due to the totipotent ability, this interstitial cells increases in number at one point to form a protuberance below which the gastrodermal cells acquire reserve food. And the third step is that then the epidermis, mesoglia and gastrodermis are actually pushed out to form a bud which contain a diverticulum of the mother enteron. Now the budding and the number 4 steps is at the distal end of the bud grows tentacle one by one and hypostome with mouth is formed. Number 5 step is the attachment of the bird to the mother Hydra constrict to separate the bird, but endoderm cells at the base unit before this. After constriction, ectoderm grows over the food to cover the endoderm. And number 6 is the last step of the budding process. The bird actually grows into a new Hydra that migrate toward the surface of the water for dispersal, but it finally get fixed by its basal disc so that it becomes a solitary individual. Okay, this is the very simple process of the budding, which is commonly found in the Hydra. Okay, this is the very usual mode of reproduction that are actually found in the Hydra. Okay. Now let's discuss about the sexual reproduction of Hydra. What is sexual reproduction? Sexual reproduction is a form of reproduction where two morphologically distinct type of specialized reproductive cell called gamete fuse together, involving a gamete female large ovum and a male smaller sperm. Now, first of all, you should have a clear understanding regarding the spermatogenesis process. Actually, the interstitial cells, which is a special cell that are found in epidermis and gastrodermis of the Hydra, and these interstitial cells actually give rise to form a testis. Okay, and normally the testis is a conical in shape. There is a nipple at the tip of the testis, and the spermatogenesis process is the production of the sperm. This is the very important process by which sperm is produced from the testis. Okay, there are several steps in the spermatogenesis process. Now, the interstitial cells, some of the interstitial cells in the testis behave like a sperm mother cells or a spermatogonial cell. Okay, spermatogonial cells basically contain diploid number of chromosomes, and after growth, after getting nutrition from the body, the spermatogonial cells give rise to the spermatocyte, which also contain the diploid number of chromosomes. Okay. Now, the spermatocyte undergoes maturation division or meiosis cell division to produce 4 haploid spermatid. Okay, and these 4 haploid spermatids ultimately give rise to sperm by the process of the spermiogenesis. Okay, this is the very simple process of the spermatogenesis in case of the Hydra. Okay. Now let's discuss about the oogenesis process. Actually, oogenesis process actually take places in the ovary of the Hydra. Like testis, the ovary is actually formed from the repeated division of the interstitial cells, which are mainly found in the epidermis and gastrodermis of the hydral body wall. Okay. One of the interstitial cells becomes larger in size and behave like a oogonia or ovum mother cells, and these oogonia are getting nutrition to form a oocyte, which is also contains a diploid number of chromosome. Then after that, this oocyte undergoes maturation division or meiosis cell division to produce only one oocyte and 3 polar bodies, and only one oocyte again give rise to a ovum. Okay, so during this oogenesis process, a spermatogonial cell is actually give rise to only one ovum. Okay. Now the third step is the fertilization. After formation of sperm and the ovum, the sperm and ovum has to be fused together, and this process is actually called the fertilization process. So what is fertilization? The fusion of the sperm and the ovum is actually known as fertilization. Actually, in case of the Hydra, the cross-fertilization occurs as a whole in different species of the Hydra. Fertilization is actually cross-fertilization or internal fertilization. A ovary or ovum is actually encircled by a gelatinous membrane, and when numerous sperms are actually penetrated into the ovary through the gelatinous membrane, but only one sperm are able to fuse with the ovum. Sperm able to fuse with the ovum. This process is actually called the fertilization process. Okay, and after fertilization, a zygote is actually formed, and this zygote undergoes repeated mitosis division to produce a solid mass of cell, which is actually called the morula stage. Okay, and after that, the cells of the morula are arranged in a single layer, which are known as the blastomere, and the inner cavity or fluid filled cavity is actually formed, which is called the blastocele cavity, and this step is actually called the blastula step. Okay, and after blastula, gastrula is actually formed. But how this gastrula is actually formed in case of the Hydra? The ectodermal cells again repeatedly divided to form numerous cells, and some of the ectodermal cells are delimited from the ectoderm to the blastocele cavity to occupy the blastocele space and arranged another layer which is called the endoderm layer. Okay. So during the gastrulation phase, actually two layers is actually formed. The outer layer is called ectoderm and the inner layer is called the endoderm. Okay. And this stage is actually called the gastrula stage. And during the gastrula, this gastrula is actually remain attached to the mother body. That's why these types of gastrula is actually known as the stereogastrula. Okay, stereogastrula. And number 4 step is called the cyst form. Cyst steps. But how this cyst is actually formed? The ectoderm layer secrete some chemical substance which harden to make a chitinous covering around the gastrula. Okay, and this stage is actually called the thica stage, and this stage is totally this gastrula is actually known as the cyst. Okay, and when the cyst after that the cyst become detached from its parent's body and submerged into the water. Okay, and settle to on any substratum like a stone, and it can exist as a dormant stage until a favorable condition is arise. When this favorable condition becomes arise, then again the developmental process will be started. Okay. Now the final step is called the hydrula step. When the cyst, when the favorable environment comes, then the cells development again started in the gastrula. Okay, the ectoderm, dermis and endodermis is actually formed. A mesoglia is actually formed in between the ectoderm and endoderm layer. Okay, a cylindrical cavity is also formed inside the body, and tentacle, a circlet of the tentacle is actually formed around the mouth cavity. So a fully hydrula is a very small hydra is actually formed by this way, and when the cyst is actually ruptured and the hydrula is come out from the cyst and give rise to individual organisms, individual hydra. Okay, this is the these are the process of the development of the hydra. Now the another very important topic, that is the regeneration power of the hydra. What is regeneration? Regeneration is the ability of an organism to replace its lost or damaged part. If you look at the figure here, this is the very simple process of the regeneration. If a hydra is cut into two or three or more several pieces, each piece are able to give rise to an individual hydra. And this process is actually called the regeneration power of the hydra. And always hydra maintain a polarity. Polarity means the part nearer to the mouth are actually always form the tentacle and the mouth part. Okay, and this part nearer to the base is actually give rise to or form the pedal disc, and this is actually called the polarity. Okay. Now the homework. Write down the process of budding reproduction. Thank you for your patient sharing. I think today's lecture was very much effective lecture for all of us. I am humble requesting you all to watch my video lecture for several times that will be discussed here today. If you have any queries regarding my today's lecture, feel free to ask me, or you can also ask your respective subject teacher. Thank you all. Khuda Hafiz.